Hey everybody, my name is David. I'm a part-time photographer and cinematographer based out of Florida. I've been doing videography and cinematography for about 2 years now. And I am a huge Sony nerd. But I am incredibly lucky because today I get to unbox the new ZV-E10M2 from Sony. Something that for many reasons I am ridiculously excited about. Not the least of which is the new sensor that it has in here. The fact that it has like a battery that matches all of my other Sony gear. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. So first thing you'll notice for me that I thought was a little strange was the box is just tiny. You know, if you've bought Sony stuff before, or even any kind of Sony Alpha stuff, like I own two FX30s, an FX6, you know, A7R5. You're used to bigger orange boxes. This one's pretty small and kind of tiny, which makes sense. You know, this is a, it's not technically, you know, setting line camera, so you know, smaller box kind of makes sense. But let's go ahead and see what we can actually get when we crack this guy open. All right, so first things first. All right, your usual Sony stuff. We've got a little little Sony strap. I never use these. For one, I don't really love, like, I don't really love advertising Sony as I walk around. And for other, like, you know, this is, you can just throw that away. You know, your normal warranty cards, basic information, the normal stuff. One thing I'd always recommend, never throw this stuff away. Every single bit of it, keep it. Keep your box, keep everything, keep your strap. You're gonna want to be able to actually use that if you ever want to sell your stuff again. People really love to have their boxes. All right, so this is it. This is this is the entire inside of the box. This is going to be your camera. Super tiny so far. That's kind of crazy. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh wow. Okay, this is tiny. This is kind of crazy how small this is. I never had the first ZV-E10, so I really wasn't sure what I was expecting here, but this is pretty cool. This is wildly small. Lens is beautiful, honestly, for the size, and you know, being a box kit lens. Doesn't look like it's actually metal. It is a plastic, which is fine. So the thing with the ZV-E10 is it is an APS-C sensor, so that's one of the reasons I'm actually kind of excited about this. I mentioned earlier I have two FX30s because I love them so much, which are both also APS-C cameras. And the cool thing with this particular camera, new to this particular version, is that it uses the exact same sensor that the FX30 does. So like that's insane to think about. FX30, if you don't have one already, obviously much larger in size. This is a Sigma. Your standard 18-50 lens on it, so you keep that in mind as well. But just look at the body difference there. That's absolutely crazy how much smaller this is. But yeah, exact same sensor as the FX30. So obviously, you know, they're gonna have some challenges with, like, you know, your Cineline systems have your cooling built into it. You know, your double card expansion slots. I don't think this one has 2 slots, but we'll find out here in a second. You know, your normal full kit that you have here. So we'll have to see what this actually looks like from a system thing, but that's the other great thing about this too. New to this particular version is that they actually use, and let's just continue opening the box, the exact same batteries that most other Sony system things use, these NP FZ100s. I love these batteries. They're not wildly expensive compared to like other companies' batteries. Looking at you, like they last a great amount of time, and the fact that these are just reusable, I can use them in any of my Sony systems except for, you know, the FX6, is just phenomenal. I absolutely love it. Really gives you the opportunity to have a bunch of backup batteries, which is always nice when you're out and about. Last thing that's in here, let's see what this is. I have no idea what this is. It's a toupee. It's a little toupee. That's cute. So this is okay on the little on the photos of this. Yeah, okay. So this goes in your cold shoe, and it just kind of slides in. Let's see. I don't really want that hair tucked under. Slides in. Oh, look at it. Oh, his little toupee. He's so cute. Oh, love it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's cute. So that's it. I mean, that's the entire box. That's everything that you get in there. Camera, battery, lots of documents, and toupee. Little camera toupee. Love it. So let's take a look at some of the other things that are available on this guy. So another really nice thing, Sony's gotten really good about pivoting screens. Actually, that was interesting. I was able. That was weird. Okay, so we've got back facing. You can flip and actually keep yourself protected if you're paranoid like me. When you're traveling, you don't want to get your screen scratched up. One thing I always do, also recommend, always get a screen protector for these things. Screens are pretty robust nowadays, but they can still get nicks and scratches. And if you're like me, you will only ever see those nicks whenever you're looking at the back of the screen if you don't have a screen protector on it. Battery slot, like I mentioned earlier, we can go ahead and pop in the battery on these. I just love these batteries compared to everything else. Let's see, on the side, we've got, looks like it just supports SD-XE2, so that is a slight downgrade from your FX30, where they actually support some of the bigger, more interesting memory cards. So I kind of wish that they had brought that over. One of the things I love about the FX30 and the A7R5 is that they support CF Express A and SDs, and so it uses the same slot. And I know this is kind of a cost savings thing. If most people are going to be buying this don't care about the ability to use CF Express A, but I do. I have a lot of CF Express A cards, so would have loved to be able to reutilize that. So yeah, SD card slot here, and then we've got two other slots above and below. Looks like one of those mini HDMIs. I hate these. They're great because they're tiny, but I always feel like I'm gonna break or bend, and they're just so bespoke that it's not like you have a dozen of them lying around. You could probably buy them in bulk, but who does it? At the top, USB-C, and then your normal plugs in for mics and other things. All right, well, let's get a memory card in this sucker and get it turned on. I have a little SanDisk 128 V90 2 on here, so we'll get that plugged in. Probably haven't formatted this thing, but it'll be a good test to actually just pop it in a format. Always recommend when you're using a camera and you're swapping between, format your cards. Make sure that there's compatibility. All right, so where you're plugged in here, power is going to be just like you would with any other kind of Sony system. Flick it on here. Let's see what we get when we first boot this sucker up. Oh, well, it looks like the battery did not come charged. So, beautiful thing here is I'll just grab one and grab another. Let's see. Who has a battery in it? Beautiful. So, now you know when you're purchasing one of these, does not come charged, or your mileage may vary. I know that sometimes batteries come charged, sometimes they don't. I know most manufacturers always recommend charge first. There we go. And so now we're just going to go through our normal, no, need screen reader, automatically accept. So if you haven't used the Creators app before, it's actually a pretty nice little application that Sony offers on phones, and allows you to connect to pretty much any Sony system. So it's nice to see that you can do that here as well. So if we look at mine, you can see I've got my A7R5, and I can actually swap to different cameras. So I've got my FX30 A and B, and so we'll go ahead and add this new Sony camera to our lineup. So let's go ahead and do this. Set on, turning on the Bluetooth, connect the camera through Creators app all on the screen. So let's go ahead, go to camera, let's go add a camera. We're going to look for the ZV, am I crazy? Oh, there we go, ZV-E10M2, there we go. So it found it already. We can go ahead and pair it and start our connection. And usually just takes a little bit of time. So, yeah, there we go. Confirm the code. Always confirm your codes. That way you're not maliciously connecting to some random camera in your area. We're good there. We'll go ahead and pair. Connect it to my smartphone. Sure, we can do that. Is that right? Yeah, make sure we're setting our time. Device name is fine. So interesting. So auto power off temperature. So this is one of the things that people actually change on their FX30s typically. You know, the auto power off is pretty low. Like they turn off pretty quickly. So usually you just turn this off and just kind of, you know, they'll turn off eventually. Because you can set it to high and it'll usually only turn off later. I'm going to leave this to standard for now, and we're actually going to do a heat test to just see how long this can record before it actually turns off. I'm in Florida, so it's constantly hot, so this is definitely important, but we'll just kind of leave it for that. It's nice to know that that is an option. Again, there are no fans on this device, so I imagine it's probably going to get pretty hot pretty fast. So we'll just go ahead and use these settings. Initial settings have been completed. Okay, pixel mapping. I always want to perform pixel mapping. If you've ever been to a venue and recorded something live, and you found out later that you had a couple dead pixels, it's pretty easy to fix in post. But man, is it a pain, because you have to notice them for one, and when you're recording at 4K, sometimes it's hard to see, and then sometimes like you'll get, I do a lot of live recording, where it's like 2-hour, 3-hour long sessions, and I'll get through editing and I'm on like hour 2, and then I see a stupid dead pixel. I'm like, oh, okay, now I have to go back and fix it through the whole thing. Again, not like it's difficult, but again, pixel mapping is a great way to just make sure that you're not going to have any dead pixels while you're recording. Make sure you leave your lens cap on, click OK. And it'll just make sure, essentially what it does is it looks at your sensor, it looks for any dead pixels, and it does its best to adjust and fix those. So usually they will do a restart afterwards, which is exactly what we saw just there. Pixel mapping is complete. All right, so then we've just got some basic instructions here. Swiping to the left, right, up calls up touchscreen menus, okay? So yeah, now we're here. We're actually at our main menu. We can see that we've got 4 hours and 30 minutes on this particular card. Again, I said I needed to format it, so I'm going to see, yep, we have our standard Sony menu here, which if you're using any other Sony system, you'll actually be pretty used to this already, which is great. Actually, people complain about the Sony menus a lot, but I think the same is true for any system. Like Leica, they have a beautiful menu system, but again, any system that you're using, you just have to get used to the menus. Once you're used to them, it's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, it looks like the same style choices that you actually have here across the board. So you can actually set your frames per second. So this does support 60 frames per second at 422 10-bit, which is great. I mean, who doesn't love doing 60 frames per second anymore? You want to get your slowdown. You want to, you usually don't actually release at 60. Usually, you'll downframe to 30 and use those extras to actually get some actual slow motion, or you'll get down to 24p. 24p is what you usually do for more cinematic looks. I do a lot of 24p when I'm not doing action or not doing like live sporting events, things along those lines. But yeah, this looks to be the exact same menu that you would be used to if you're using any other Sony system. You can set your customs here. I definitely recommend learning how to do that. It's great to be able to set custom menus. Here you go, my menu settings. So you'll be able to add your items here. So usually I always click File Format, add it to that location, and then I'll do my media. I always like having formatting up here as well. So I wonder if Yep. So now I got File Format and Format here whenever I want it. Cool. So let's go ahead and pop this lens off and see what we get. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's very much already feels like the look and feel of an FX30. Let's go ahead and record this, and we will. Oh, okay. Does it have a macro mode? What? So let's actually see here. How close can we get? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I was not expecting this at all. I didn't realize this actually was able to get fairly close up. and actually some pretty good bokeh back there as well. This is a great little lens, and it's so tiny. It's so tiny. It's kind of incredible how small this thing is. So why am I excited about this? Like, again, I own two FX30s, I own a FX6, I own a A7R5, I own a Leica, two Leicas. But this thing's just great. Like, the big thing for me is I want to be able to grab a quick camera and run. So normally a lot of times we'll just grab a Ricoh. Like if I'm doing street photography, wanted to just grab a couple snaps, and you can do video on a Ricoh, and it's okay. Like, it's fine. It works fairly well. But I mean, Ricoh at its core is 100% it's a photography camera. So actually, a lot of time, most of the time, my son is using our Ricoh now, and I'm carrying around like a Leica or something along those lines when we're doing street photography. But man, carrying around an FX30 again. Not like this isn't a big camera. It's not huge, but it's got some heft to it. And it has heft to it because, like every cinematographer, I got to put a cage on it, and I got to put all my extra dingles and fun stuff on it to make it, more robust. And like every photographer or cinematographer, I am always looking to revise my kit. And so what do we do as cinematographers and photographers to revise our kit? We buy more gear. And then we decide, maybe I'll use this today. And then, eventually you might end up selling something. But yeah, I'm excited about this one because, I mean, it's small. It is incredibly tiny. It's using the same sensor as an FX30, so I know what I'm going to be getting. I know that I can actually pair this with an FX30, and I'm going to have an easier time doing, color management and posts. Have a pretty good feel just in general for how this is going to perform. And it's just kind of great, again, really tiny, cute little toupee. And so I guess what I would love to check here, and actually as I'm talking, so this is billed as a vlogger camera. So I'm really curious to see how this actual microphone performs. But in general, I mean, it's super cute. I know that's a weird thing to say about a camera, a Sony camera especially. Like, I don't know that anybody has ever called a Sony camera cute before, but I don't know, there's just something about this guy I think is just absolutely adorable. This is one thing I do not like. I would like to still be able to record while I close the back screen and don't have it open. I wonder if there's a setting for that somewhere. I'm sure there is. I'll have to play with it and see. A lot of times when I'm recording, if I'm doing street recording or street photography, you're kind of usually, you're at waist level and you're trying to keep kind of a lowish profile. And again, just having the screen exposed when it doesn't need to be exposed, when I'm not actively looking at it, it's just one more place to actually cause problems. But again, look, that macro keeps popping up. Look how close I can get to this. This is nuts. This is crazy. Beautiful. Yeah, that is gorgeous. Holy cow. So yeah, this is the ZV-E10M2. What I'll definitely be doing quite a bit more of is getting some actual shots. I'll do a comparison shot of the ZV-E10M2 to an actual FX30 because it's going to be the direct comparison. I will likely use the same lens. I'll slap on this 18-50 Sigma onto here, which will actually be kind of interesting to see how that impacts the weight. Let's do one more thing before we close this out. Let's pop actually the lens off. And yeah, there you go. There's that beautiful little sensor that it's got built into there. Looks like there's already dust on it. So, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a brand new camera without immediately having dust on the screen. But yeah, again, honestly, this guy, for being a kit lens, it looks beautiful. Especially when it's recording. I don't love the quality, but I have no idea how much this thing would be independently. If you're going to buy one of these, buy it with your kit lens. You will usually never go wrong with having a kit lens. You can fairly comfortably, I'll use the word toss it around and not feel bad. Usually the cost difference is fairly minimal. So it makes sense to just pick it up. And then, get a Sigma lens. Sigma is phenomenal from the APS-C perspective. They make great lenses. I'm very much a Sony lens person when it comes to full frame, except for my 85mm. But yeah, beyond that, guys, this is pretty exciting. Look how tiny this is. I can literally just hold this in one hand and have the exact same power as an FX30 with, I'd say, half the weight. Easily half the weight. Again, keep in mind, caged, bigger lens. But yeah, this is going to be fun. So things coming up next. We'll do a comparison of quality. We'll do heat tests, just see how long we can actually have this thing record. Again, this thing actually does support 4K 60, so we're just going to let that run for as long as possible. I don't think it goes any higher. It is actually a down crop, so I think it's 4K with a cropping from 5K. I'll have to look up the exact numbers there, but yeah, it's pretty wild to see what all they've been able to pack into this. And again, huge bonus that it has the same batteries. Yeah, all right. Cool, thank you everybody.